Think you can bake a pound cake? I've got a recipe for one that'll make you shout. Stick around, we'll be right back. Thanks for coming back. I know you're ready to learn how to make this wonderfully beautiful pound cake. But first we're going to make this banana pudding. And joining me today in the set are a couple of my friends who are really interested in learning how to cook this way. And they have the advantage of being able to taste all this good food with me at the end of the show and look in the camera and make you wish you were here. So you'll run out to your grocery store and mix it up for your family. When it comes to desserts, it's really hard to know what a healthy dessert is. And sometimes you can take like an old-fashioned homemade pie and substitute a margarine instead of a butter or an oil or something like that in it. When I was working as a county home economist for the Georgia Extension Service back a long time ago, I used to teach people how to do this sort of stuff, and I really gained a great reputation for being able to make good desserts. But when I changed my diet and lifestyle, I just gave it up. I hadn't had a pound cake actually in probably 10 years. But about the banana pudding. Banana pudding wasn't one of my favorite foods. My husband loved it. And so at his request, he's a wonderful man. He brought these flowers to the set for us today. I'm going to give him a big hug and maybe some banana pudding too. Because he wanted banana pudding, I figured I'd come up with a good recipe for him. And so there's some things you have to substitute because most southern banana puddings have a lot of fat and a lot of sugar, and then I think the way you top it off is to put that whipped cream on it. So I had to figure out how I could do some substitutes. The first thing that we do when we make banana pudding, of course, is to put the cookies in the bowl. And I decided today to use some vanilla wafers and some ginger snaps. I don't know if you all have ever thought about that, but the ginger snaps give it a real twangy flavor and kind of like a little Caribbean twist. When I've made it for some friends, they want to know if I'm from the islands or not. No, I'm from the North American island. That's the island I'm from. After you get those in there, then you want to get your bananas and peel them up. And you can cut them whichever way you want. Today we're making this in a round container, so I'm going to just slice them. But if you're making it in a long container like that, you could slice them the other way. So you just slice them up like this. And typically when you make banana pudding, you actually plan to serve this for dessert. However, in our house, this banana pudding is so delicious and tasty that we don't eat it necessarily for dessert. If I'm having company coming over, I'll make it for dessert. But in our house, we eat it for breakfast. So you've got the cookies, which I've used vanilla and ginger snaps. And then I put bananas on here. The next thing that we're going to do is put our filling in. Well, what can we substitute for the traditional filling that we normally put in there? We're going to use that wonderful tofu again. I've got a package of silken tofu that we're going to put inside the blender. And that's about a 12-ounce package of the silken tofu. You can find it at most grocery stores. Then I'm going to add a package of pudding mix that is non-dairy. And I'm going to pour that into the blender. This is a vanilla one. And the reason that I use vanilla is because I'm going to add some other flavorings to it. This one, years ago when I made it, I accidentally made one with toasted coconut in it, and my husband loved it. So now I just use the plain vanilla that's dairy-free, and I add some flavoring to it. I'm going to put in a little banana flavoring, just a drop, and a little coconut flavoring. And then I'm going to add enough non-dairy milk. I'm using a soy milk, but you could use a rice milk if you wanted to, if you didn't like to use soy milk, and put that in there. And it's probably going to be about a half a cup, and I'll add some more if I need some more. Now let's see. Make sure this is in the right position here so that we don't shock you when we turn it on. And we're going to turn it on and start blending. Okay, usually it doesn't take very long to blend. We're just going to push it down like that. This looks really good. And then we're going to take it and we're going to pour about half of it into the pudding dish here. Doesn't that look good? This is completely free of saturated fat and cholesterol, so you don't have to worry about it when you eat this. I was involved in a faith and healing workshop at Morehouse School of Medicine, and my staff and I prepared this as one of the vendors for the participants to taste, and the president of Morehouse School of Medicine came through the hall. I wasn't at the table, but he came through, and I found out later. He asked, "What is that?" And we told him what it was and what was in it, and he left the table, and a little while later he came back for more. I think when people learn how to make new versions of the foods that they're used to eating in a healthier way that also tastes good, then there's not as many problems with them enjoying how it tastes to them. Doesn't that look good, y'all? I think it's going to be great. Now we're going to put another banana on here. Let's see. And then we're going to cut this one up. I think I'm going to put some more right here. Fill it in. And of course, if you wanted to add some other kind of flavoring to the pudding, you could do that as well. And I think that we're going to actually need another piece of a banana to go in here. So for this recipe, you're probably going to use about 2½ bananas. Bananas, of course, are the food that is promoted as the best source of potassium, but most fruits and vegetables have excellent amounts of potassium in them. If you're looking for an easy way to increase your potassium, this is definitely one way that's a good idea to do it. Okay, and we got this banana that we're going to slice up here. That looks so good. I think I will make this for Mr. Goodman. So Mr. Goodman can smile. All right, then we're going to go back over here and get the rest of this and pour it. And depending on how many people you're planning to have over, that would pretty much determine how much banana pudding you're actually going to make. But this is a wonderful one to have available and to eat during the summertime. I think this is probably one of the more popular ones to actually have like at family reunions and stuff in the summertime. Good old banana pudding. And a lot of people in the summertime, relatives come around for the reunions who are having a lot of health issues. And they kind of decide, well, we're at the family reunion. I'm just going to keep eating and I'll do better later. You don't have to do that. What you can do is serve them this and they'll feel better when they get back home. A few minutes, we'll be back and we'll show you how to make that wonderful pound cake. No, we're going to do ice cream next. See you in a few minutes. Welcome back. Listen, I used to make the best pound cake in the world. My husband and I would make I would make the pound cake on a Friday, and that thing was gone probably by Saturday night. He would come in the house just slicing it. The whole reason that you call a pound cake is because you put a pound of butter in it. And we know that's not the healthiest thing that you can do. So I'm going to show you this new recipe that I have for pound cake. I'm going to take 1½ cups of milk and pour it into my blender. Let's see here. 1½ cups of milk. All right, and this is non-dairy milk, so you could use rice milk, nut milk, any kind of milk that you want. Then, instead of putting in a pound of butter, I'm going to use 1 cup of a vegetable oil. And that might look like a lot, but when you compare it to what you're used to eating, it's half or less than half of what you traditionally eat. Then I'm going to add my flavorings, which are 2 tablespoons of whatever you like. And we're going to put in some almond flavorings. And as you can see over here on the cake that's already finished, there's some almonds on the top. I put those almonds on top of them while it was in the oven baking. Then the next thing I'm going to do, you put about 6 eggs in a pound cake. I'm going to use 1/2 of a 12-ounce package of silken tofu instead of the eggs. I started out trying to get this recipe and get it exactly right. And I could always get the flavor, but the cake would rise beautifully, and then once it would cool, it would just drop back down, and it was nasty. About 2 years ago, my nephew graduated from high school, and we were all there for the reunion, and his another relative was there with this cake recipe, and I make like 2 every time I make it because you use 1/2 a package of tofu, and I feel like I shouldn't waste the other package. So I make 2 cakes. All right, we're going to put all that in the blender. I think that's everything that goes in there. And then we're going to come over here to the mixing bowl. In this mixing bowl, we have 3 cups of all-purpose unbleached flour. Now, if you want to make an even healthier version of this so that it's whole grain, I had some students when I was teaching at Oakwood that didn't use the all-purpose unbleached. They used the white whole wheat flour, and some of them used the white whole wheat pastry flour. And what I suggested to them is that they sift it, because the whole wheat flour is a lot more heavy than this flour is, and it's a little different from what you're used to eating. And if you sift the whole grain flour, then it's going to give you a lighter product. And their cake actually looked like a golden pound cake when it was baked. So you can use whole wheat flour if you want to as well. Then I'm going to put in 2 cups of the turbinado kind of sugar. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt and about 3½ teaspoons of baking powder. And remember that when we use baking powder, we want to find one that has the least objectionable ingredients in it. And that would be one that doesn't have aluminum, because aluminum is really bad for us. And sometimes baking soda is better for your body if your stomach is upset, rather than baking and cooking with it. Now that we got this stirred, we're going to come over to the blender and blend this up. When I share this recipe with my friends, they're thinking they can't make it. I said it's just like making cornbread. Here we go. This is as hard as it gets. Now we're going to take this and pour it into the center of the dish, just like that. And then we're going to stir this up. And we don't need a blender or anything like that. We don't need a hand mixer. We don't need one of those big expensive machines that they make cakes out of. Neither do you have to stand here and beat it with your own hand for a long time. This is as hard as this cake gets. Now, I'm really glad today to have my friends with me, because I do a lot of seminars and cooking classes, and that's when I think I have the most fun, when I'm able to actually be in a room with people and show them how to do this and see the glee on their faces. And then when people leave the cooking classes and they go back to their lives and they make these changes and they start to feel better and look better, and I hear from them, I'm just so thrilled at the results that they get. So keep your eyes and ears open, because if I'm in your area, I want you to join me. And when you come in, I want to know how you heard about it. If you saw it on Cooking Up Good Health, maybe you'll get a special hug or something. All right. Now, doesn't that look kind of like cornbread or some other kind of stiff batter? The next thing that we're going to add is 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, and watch what happens to the batter. I've asked some of my students that I taught who were science majors to tell me what the chemical reaction is that's going on here, and none of them have bitten the bait. But something in the lemon juice reacts with these ingredients, and pretty soon this is going to start to look just like cake batter. See it smoothing out? It's so easy. I first called my girlfriend Regina in D.C. and shared this recipe with her, and she went ahead and made it by herself without ever even tasting it. And it's been something that she makes often for a lot of other gatherings. And she told me that when she makes it sometimes, she'll actually freeze the cake, and it does well when she's ready to serve it again. Oh, this looks so good. And then we're going to move this out of the way. And we're getting ready to pour this into here. I'm going to pour it like this so I can hold the bowl and not make a big mess. This is a bundt pan. My girlfriend Edna has younger children. She took this recipe and added a little more milk to it and made cupcakes out of it for birthday parties. And then my cousin took the recipe again and split the batter and made half the batter vanilla and the other half of the batter a carob and put it into a marble. So it was like a marble cake. That was absolutely delicious. Then she put a little less sugar in it and added blueberries to it and had blueberry muffins. Isn't this great? No saturated fat, no cholesterol, no guilt. And it's not really expensive when you compare it to the other stuff that you've been eating. So I want you to try this with your family. Don't tell them what it is. You know, cook it while they're gone. And then have it there sitting there when they get back home and let them slice up and eat it. And we're going to put this in the oven. And when you come back, we're really going to make ice cream this time. See you in a few seconds. All right, we're back. The cake is in the oven. It's going to be ready in a little while. So while that's baking, we're going to make what we usually eat with cake, and that's ice cream. I had a little trouble switching from traditional ice cream to the new ice cream that I make. Whenever I was stressed, I would go to one of those ice cream stores and buy some bubblegum ice cream or some Reese's Pieces ice cream or a banana split, and that really wasn't so good for me. My husband and son had decided that they were tired of the allergic reaction they were having to dairy products, so they were cutting them out. But I was still using them on my cereal and eating that expensive ice cream. The expensive ice cream that we had a freezer full of it. I would buy it whenever it was on sale so that I could save some money and be able to go down and get whatever I wanted. But when I started reading the label after my lifestyle change, I realized that the more expensive ice cream that I was buying had the ingredients in it that were going to create the greatest risk for my health. And so my husband and son nearly applauded for me when I decided to make those changes. But then I went to Wildwood Lifestyle Center and Hospital in North Georgia and decided that not only was I not going to drink milk anymore, but I was going to get rid of that expensive ice cream and a whole bunch of stuff. So when I came back home, I put them in the kitchen and reminded them of what they had promised me. And then I started pulling stuff out of the refrigerator. Cream cheese, sour cream, every kind of cheese we had. Anything that was dairy that we were deciding not to eat anymore, I was throwing it away. And my poor husband said if I couldn't find a replacement for sour cream, he was not going to eat baked potatoes anymore because he didn't want no fake nothing. So I know that if you all are trying to make lifestyle changes, what it's like to share them with your loved ones, and they're not interested in doing it. So it was my job to get in the kitchen and really make a good replacement. So we came up with this ice cream recipe, and if you have the book already, something to shout about, I had worked probably within the first 2 or 3 months after I started to make the changes to come up with this ice cream recipe, and it's a really good one. But since I wrote the book back in 1999, I've perfected the recipe. Go get a pen and a piece of paper so that you can write this down or say it out loud to somebody down the hall so that you can have the new version of the recipe. First thing we want to get is 2 cups of your favorite milk. My girlfriend Edna takes like a soy creamer instead of milk and puts it in it, and that makes it really rich tasting. So in here we have 2 cups of a vanilla type of soy milk. The next thing that we're going to add is a sugar, and I've chosen again to use that evaporated cane juice crystal, and I'm going to pour that in there, and that's 1 cup of the sugar. then I'm going to need something to replace the fat. And I kind of played around and found a non-dairy cream cheese that gives the ice cream that rich taste that you're traditionally used to. So I'm going to put this in here and hope it doesn't splash all over the place while I'm doing it. Good job, Donna. And then when you make homemade ice cream, sometimes you put eggs in it. What I'm going to substitute for that is 1 package of the silken tofu, and I'm going to drop that in there carefully so that I don't make a big mess. Okay, easy. There we go. And then you decide what flavor you're going to make it. Of course, vanilla is always a good base to have. And we're going to put about 2 tablespoons of a non-alcoholic vanilla flavoring in here. And then the party begins. This right here is now vanilla ice cream. You can put maple flavoring, almond flavoring, butter flavoring, add pecans to it. You can put fresh fruit in it. I think that's what we're going to do today. We're going to put strawberries in here, frozen strawberries. And if the strawberries are fresh from your garden, they're really good. But I find that when you're making homemade ice cream, if the fruit that you're putting in the ice cream is frozen, then when you put it in the ice cream machine, it freezes up more quickly. So we're going to put about that many strawberries in there. And then I'm going to be quiet for a few seconds while we blend this up. All right, here we go. Doesn't that look good? Yeah, it looks so good. This is my son's favorite flavor. And what I do, he likes it just like this. But if you have a loved one in your home who likes bits of strawberries in the ice cream, you can then go back and cut up the strawberries into dice it or slice it. And after you pour it in the ice cream machine, then you can drop the strawberries in there so you have strawberries all through the ice cream when you are eating it. That looks kind of good. Okay, now, my mama used to tell me, if you're going to be here with me, you can't just sit and not work. So I'm going to ask my girlfriends to work, all right? I need them. Let me unplug it. Take this. And if you will take this for me, thank you. And she's going to switch and bring this on set for me. Okay, we've got the ice cream machine here. And what we're going to do is turn it on. And we're going to pour the ice cream in it. I don't want to lose one drop. I really like using this ice cream machine because it's all one unit. And if all of your ingredients are really cold, you can just pour it in here and you'll have ice cream in about 20 to 30 minutes. If you wanted to add nuts or something, in a little while it's going to start swelling up in here and look just like ice cream. Then you could put the nuts in there or fruit or cookie dough. If you like cookie dough ice cream, you could put that in there and then it'll be done. We're going to let this get creamy and we're going to go to break. And when you come back, we're going to be eating ice cream, strawberry, and vanilla, because I already made some vanilla, and some banana pudding. Sit right where you are. We'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're back. Ice cream is ready. Let's see. Nothing beats some good old homemade ice cream on a summer day. Give me your cup. I'm going to serve them up a little bit. Doesn't that look good? Fresh strawberry homemade ice cream that doesn't have anything bad in it. Don't you wish you were here? I think I'm going to have me a little banana pudding. Sorry you couldn't be here with us, but you got the recipe, so now you can make it yourself. Remember, when you're in Donna's kitchen, we're always cooking up good health. See you next time. Thanks for watching today. If you or someone you know suffers from diabetic neuropathy, peripheral arterial disease, or peripheral vascular disease, there is hope for you. The staff at Lifestyle Therapeutics is waiting to get you back on your feet. To find out how, give our office a call at 256-704-2352. And while you're at it, register for our free monthly First Thursdays Lifestyle for Better Health class. Can't make the class? Meet me at Garden Cove Produce, where we'll be cooking up good health. We look forward to showing you how to make better choices and helping you to recover your health. Give us a call today at 256-704-2352. Lifestyle Therapeutics is centrally located at 4825 University Square, Suite 9, Huntsville. Lifestyle Therapeutics, where circulation means health. Cooking up good health now. Wait a minute. Hold my mule.